I think the suspiciousness is actually helpful because I don't think he is sure himself why he is there. And, the character was originally written as a Caucasian Northern Irish doctor, and I had read the script, and I told my agent I wanted to go in for it, and I said to Chris and Ellen, who's the director of the original production, I said, there's a chance here to talk about biracial identity a little bit and about somebody trying to find something by going back to the country from where their blackness comes from, existing in such a Western space, especially Derry in Northern Ireland. And I've spent some time in Northern Ireland, and I can imagine growing up there as a person of color is even more isolated than it is in other areas of the West. So that confusion and that feeling, that suspicion, I'm very cautious of speaking for people, but certainly for me, it is a daily occurrence in the life of somebody who is biracial. So for me, Artie was just talking there about the connection with Latoya and the connection that Dembe has with Wunmi, and the opposite end of that spectrum is that, Sam is not a person who is super open and super, connected in that way. He's a person who feels very isolated. And, there's an imposter syndrome that comes along at times with being a person from two different cultures. And I think that's part of the reason why he's there. He has a set of skills as a doctor to be able to help in an area that needs help, but it's also a chance for him to explore a side of himself that he feels disconnected from.
But that said, because of his sexuality and because of his relationship with Dembe, he is viewed as a suspect or maybe even as a predator in some ways, which is not the case, but that's the way that
sure.
Dembe's family sort of, or at least his Wunmi, excuse me? Yeah, Wunmi kind of suspects him of being at one point.
Sure, yeah. I think that...
Unless I misread that, which if I did, I'm
no,
so
no,
sorry.
I don't think you did at all. I don't think you did at all. But I think that sense of...
wild misread on my part.
Yeah.
That was the case.
No, you're accurate.
Yeah. No, I think that suspicion has layers to it. I think that their sexuality is a danger to them in the situation that they're in. So it doesn't really matter what his intentions are. The fact that he is tempting her brother with a lifestyle, whether Dembe wants to engage in that or not, the fact that somebody is encouraging that side of him is a threat, possibly to his life. So it doesn't really matter what Sam's intentions are. The fact that he is, as he would be classified in that area of the world, a white person, it doesn't help. And the fact that, the fact that he seems to be here as part Ugandan and sort of a slight betrayer of that culture is another layer to that suspicion. So yeah, you're accurate that there's definitely a suspicion of him by all of the characters in the play, even Dembe at times. But to be honest, as an actor, that's really useful, and it's not difficult to draw from my lived experience to understand that feeling and feel that. And I think it's valuable for people to see. I don't think that it's an issue that's discussed a lot. There's so many issues in this play that take precedent over that one, rightly so. But
it's great when it comes up because it's an unexpected question to throw into this play that already has such high stakes, as you said. It's just such a smart little curve to be tossed in.
And I feel like the reaction I get from people in the audience about that moment is a teller of how undiscussed that issue is. The rest of the play seems to take a pretty clear stance on whether or not it's okay to be gay or whether or not it's, that's not really an issue that's up for question. But people often say to me, people often ask me, is he lying? Is his mother really Ugandan, or is he lying? That's something I hadn't even thought about before I started doing the play. But I think there's a natural suspicion or a natural questioning that people who aren't as easy to box up are subject to, that maybe others aren't. And I think that the audience reaction has even shown that.